On today's episode of Watch JR Go, we start taking the engine out of the 67 Camaro. What is going on, guys? I am Watch JR Go and I'm here with Josh, and today is the day. But we need to address a couple things first. Everyone is very worried about this thing being separated. First, once the engine's out, we'll look at the numbers and decide if it does match, and you know, it is probably a fine engine, but from the beginning, this was getting LS swapped because this is a car that is staying here. We're not selling this. It's not going to some collector that needs a numbers matching car.
Wait, this isn't a flip car?
No, this is a driver.
Camaro that you could never find again? You're not
Yeah.
just flip it?
Yeah, exactly. Everyone thinks it's going away for some reason. And the reason I'm doing this is because one of my buddies, Brian, has a absolutely wild resto mod car, and when you drive this car, it makes everyone on the road the happiest I've ever seen. Better than any supercar, better than anything I've ever driven in my life. Every single car, without a doubt, is waving, smiling, and shooting video on their phones. And on supercars, like that's a mix. It's like a bunch of people that are happy and a bunch of people that are pointing at you with different fingers. So this car universally makes people happy. This engine makes absolutely nobody happy because it makes 200 horsepower and has no noise. There's nothing coming out. It's not a muscle car, right? I mean, this was a driver. It was a driver that was fast for high school in 1967.
Or a muscle car, it would say 396 right here.
That's right. Or 427.
3 pedals. Right,
yeah, and then a different transmission. Now, at the end of this, it's going to sound amazing, make 400 horsepower right out of the box, and be the driver that it belongs, that it deserves to be. So, LS time. Also, it's going to start every time because it's an LS. You just bump the key. It's getting a Terminator, so, you know, fuel injection, all the modern conveniences, and it'll keep the air, and everyone will be happy. When we're done with this, you guys will see it'll be perfect, and we'll stick this in a box. Fine. I read the comments. This engine can go in a crate. I'll keep the wheels, even though they're the wrong wheel covers. Somebody mentioned that in the comments. They're definitely not original.
I think bottom line, the car is going to remain an AC, power steering,
Yep.
auto. What?
Yeah.
That's really it.
That's it, and we're keeping the glide.
We're not going to cut anything?
Nope.
All the kit is all bolt in, right?
Yeah, it all bolts in. This is a turnkey swap with all of the money thrown at it. This is how you do it right. If you want to swap your Camaro because you want it to be better, because it is better in every single way, this bolts in. There's nothing that can't be undone in like 5 minutes. Yeah. So yeah, bolt in, swap with the best engine that GM ever made. I can confidently say that after working on the 3.6. And that Camaro's got to get sold. It's perfect now. You guys will see updates on that soon. And this 67 is about to be a monster. And I think YouTube has like twisted the definition of a burnout car, because everybody thinks that you like send the tires until they pop and wreck the fenders.
It's gonna be a mystery machine or
some
like rotary powered flames out.
I know Garrett ruined all of this for all of you guys by going to Australia and showing you what those cars do. That's not how you do burnouts in America. And I know the comments are going to be here. Burnouts in America are you go to your high school parking lot and have some fun, and you don't ruin your tires that I spent a lot of money on last night. We've got. It's a surprise. Okay, it's not a surprise. Nitto 555 G2s. We're putting good tires on this, brand new wheels on this. It's getting everything. And yes, I'm out of money, but I have a credit card, okay? This car is getting built, and it's getting built right. Anyway, and it's staying. So it's beautiful. It's getting a good engine. Let's get this thing out of here. It's time to do some unbolting. We're gonna start right here. And figure out what we need to do to actually lift this thing.
I don't know. You think that's going to go?
The old LS plate?
Maybe that's what those small holes in the center are.
Yeah, that's for the old LS, the Gen 1.
Huh.
This is just a Gen 1 LS, isn't it? Should we pull the carb, or should we just... I think we should just unhook everything and wrap a ratchet strap around it. It's just the easy way. Well, we got to get the hood off too.
I think we'd pull the carb, to be honest with you. You're going to put a plate or something on where the carb was.
Right.
Probably, so you don't get hornet's nests there and there.
True.
Murder hornets.
Murder hornets.
Home in there. You don't
yeah.
want that. Nobody wants that.
No. We even have Holley's swap gas tank coming that has a electric fuel pump and a return built into it. And it's a brand new tank because this tank had a hole in it. This is turnkey perfection. That's how you do swaps. So yeah, by the end of the day, this will just be a big hole. And we'll be ready for the parts as soon as they get here, which will be Wednesday, I think, is the shipping estimate.
You know, that's the hard part of doing one of these builds in 3 weeks, because you order parts on day 1,
Yeah.
day 0, you might say.
Yep.
And then on day 7, they all show up, and you're like, God, where do we start?
Right.
There's so many parts here.
Yeah, it's a lot to bolt together.
And the scramble kind of starts all over again.
Yep. I think the hood is actually 9/16. Well, that's a massive difference. 4 bolts in. Anyway, we're gonna go get Ziploc bags and label all these kind of like the R8, because it has to go back together correctly like the R8. Also, I know I keep mentioning it, the R8, it's still in Florida and it's still running fine, and I want it back. Hood's off, carbs off, AC compressor is out of the way, radiator is out of the way, and that thing's flushed out, and shroud's out of there. So look at that. That is a very accessible engine bay. We're about ready to pull that thing, huh? Power steering lines, and the fuel line to the mechanical pump down there, exhaust, so it's time to jack this thing up. Once the car is in the air, we can unhook all that stuff on the bottom and keep right on chugging. Also, the owner brought over some stuff. Look at this. We've got the GM manual, the restoration guide, and the coolest thing of all. Yes, the window sticker. Look at that. The Power Glide was $194. You know what's funny is that's what Power Glides cost today too. The Power Glide never changed.
I was gonna make that joke.
Yeah, I've been looking, and like fully built Power Glides are $700. So the car was $3,227, and of course it was sold at Van Chevrolet up in Mission, Kansas City. It has the Van Chevrolet badge on the back, and that's of course staying. Plus they drill holes in the car and put them on, so that's staying forever. That's really wild. Sold February 13th, I don't know. It's dated February 13th, 1967.
Almost a Valentine's Day car.
Yep, one day before. Oh, look at that air conditioning, $356. Ballin'.
Money well spent.
Yep, and the deluxe interior. Rally Sport package was $105. Anyway, this is awesome. It's really cool to have that.
RS package was only $105.
$105 to get all that fun stuff on here. Oh, and we got a picture of when it was delivered, which is really cool.
I think it's the coolest part.
Yeah, this picture is like faded and out of a printer, Fujicolor. I know it's impossible to see, but I mean, it's beautiful. Black, and the actual wheel covers were on it back then too.
No stripes.
Yep, no stripes, so that's what it's getting. All black, no stripes. Had to run into town to work on the Volvo for just a second. I came back and the glass is out of the car because the glass master, Ryan, is here. What do you think? Is it okay, good, bad?
Undecided.
Undecided? I mean, obviously we've got
good,
some,
it's out.
we've definitely got issues.
Yeah.
And that's the sealing surface right there, I would assume, right?
Yep.
And then
Yes,
there's
sir. Some over here also.
nasty holes.
Yep.
And of course,
I haven't seen that side yet.
will rot. Where we stopped was the engine is ready to come out. The motor mounts are, the nuts are off and the bolts are ready to come out. The trans is ready to come out. Yep, it's ready to come out. Look at this nasty transmission crossmember. That thing. Here we go. You guys can join in on the fun. That is absolutely wild. That is years of dirt and oil from that trans that's been leaking forever. It's a very leaky transmission. There's fluid like coming out of the front main seal, dripping. So yeah. Bet you've never seen anything like that before. Clean the transmission crossmember. It looks much better. And now we're gonna get this engine out. a giant hole where that engine used to be, and we've got the engine here, we got the transmission separated now that it's out. There is so much oil and dirt on this thing. Years of just leaking and dirt and all that fun stuff sitting outside, that it's just thick, and you couldn't even get the bolts out when it was in the car. You couldn't see any of the bolts. They were so covered over. So yeah, there's the engine. We'll check the numbers here in a minute to see if they actually match. We do know that like a bunch of the hardware doesn't match, so this has all been out before, and who knows if it's even stock. So we're gonna take a look, we'll see. It's going to be a lot better, and we gotta figure out what's up with this Power Glide. The Power Glide has brand new fluid in it, like it was just changed, and it also, the car has never gone into park, so the transmission is probably junk too. So we'll might need a rebuild kit. We'll do something. And now we have a 327 roller. Look at that. Also, the front end is way up in the air. We've been cleaning and cleaning and cleaning inside the car. As you guys can see here, we went ahead and scrubbed out basically everything with a vacuum blower, whatever we could to loosen up, you know, use a brush on the rust and stuff. And we found our new trunk pan and some holes in the trunk pan, so that's got to get done. And obviously, the rear quarters are trash, the fenders are trash. The seats, of course, need redone from scratch. We gotta find a parchment cover that kind of matches. And that's about where we're stopping today. Engine's out, and mechanically, we're gonna clean out the bay, get the bay painted, and of course, the windshield's out now too, which is awesome. Ryan, Josh knocked that out. And yeah, back to the engine as soon as possible, as soon as we get this black and clean. So, thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to head on over to shopwatchjaredgo.com where you can get cool shirts, not like this. And please, like, share, subscribe, do whatever you want to do, and I will talk to you next time. We're going to try to wash under the car too, because the car, as we found out yesterday, needs the entire trunk, not just that trunk pan we have. That's trash, I guess. And the floors that were just put in this car are trash because somebody rhino lined them. You guys should probably know, if you rhino line anything, it's just gonna hold moisture under it and rot it from the inside. And then there's nothing you can do. So the rhino liner actually all came off by just scrubbing it with a vacuum tip. You can literally just push it out of the way. I don't know if there's any way to fix that. I don't know if those guys can ever properly prep, but I think no matter what, rhino lining ruins everything. My dad always told me, when you're gonna rhino line a truck, do it like the day before you sell it, because it's going to destroy the truck bed. Like, yeah, so that's what ruined the floors on this, the brand new floors. It's okay, they did a bad job welding anyway. I think now we're gonna order a complete floor, front to back, and even a new trunk, and just weld in a new everything, because it's all rotten, everything on this. It's sat outside for so long.
With some good epoxy primer.
With some good epoxy primer.
Epoxy primer.
Yep, that's how you do it. That's not how you do it. I don't know why this stuff even comes in bare metal. You can see that new trunk pan was bare metal and it's completely rusted. It's almost rusted through and it's brand new. Yep. So throw all that away, start over, new car from scratch. I think we're even gonna throw away that new quarter because it has a dent, and just buy new quarters and new fenders and a new entire everything. Ryan thinks we might want to order a roof because of the pinholes, even though it is strong.
I think he was worried about the pinch weld. There wasn't
the
much
pinch weld
meat
is
left
trash
here,
too.
So if you were to build, a new lip, there wouldn't be anything to meet, well, to tack it to. So he was talking about a whole roof skin.
He was, yeah, like doing the roof too. He was like, cut it, put a roof on it. Yeah, he was like, just replace every single body panel on the car, which is kind of what needs to happen. Luckily, they repop all of this and it's cheap. The floor front to back is $1,000. Like, I don't know any other car you can buy the entire floor.
Yeah, what do you see? The dash was like $300?
Yeah, the dash is $300, and that actually includes from here all the way down, $300. So it's, you know, I don't know, $5,000 in metal to replace every single panel on the car. And the only thing we even need to keep is like the firewall, because you don't have to mess with the tag that way.
Which they sell.
They do sell the firewall, yeah.
Another $300.
And maybe we should buy doors. The frame's solid. Anyway, everybody was freaking out about that numbers matching thing, and we're freaking out about, we got to replace every single panel on the entire car.
We've got the technology.
We have the technology. We can rebuild this. At this point, though, we got to like draw a line somewhere. Are we going to cut the floors out now and try to get them in before we get to LS Fest, or are we going to take the car with a drivetrain in it? We spent the entire next day washing that car. We got the engine bay pretty clean. We got the transmission pretty clean. That took like 2 hours to even get close to that. Just so much caked on dirt that it wouldn't come off with all the degreaser and scrubbing that we did. But the only numbers we found on this engine are VI, 2I, 4ME. I found a thread where somebody said that matches a 67. We didn't find this thing serialized. We looked all over the whole thing for any stamped numbers on machine surfaces, and we just couldn't find anything like that. There's a part number there, 3892657, but yeah, nothing else on the heads or on the block or anything like that. So I think that's as close as we're getting to seeing if it's a numbers matching car, other than taking the water pump off. It might be behind that. But anyway, it's all clean, and we're on to the next part of this build. Here's the cleanup cross member getting ready for paint. So much better. Down to bare metal, basically. The degreaser was taking the paint off, but it couldn't take off the dirt and everything else. That's how bad it was.